It could help write one of the final chapters in the long-running saga of the Columbus statue in Syracuse and the circle where it stands, of course.
Joining us now is OHA Executive Director Lisa Moore. Lisa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's
so,
good
Lisa,
to be here.
you're here. You're going to talk about a contest that you are opening. I'll call it a contest.
Yes.
With a redesign of this space.
Yes.
But first of all, how and why is OHA involved when this is actually a city space?
Sure. Well, OHA has been involved in this process for quite some time, you know, from the dialogues that were started under Mayor Walsh to the Columbus Circle Action Committee to the development of the Heritage Park concept, which really is a concept that fits squarely in our mission. Heritage, education, culture, art, history. Those are all things that are part of what OHA is focused on. You know, how are we telling the stories of this community? In that particular space, especially, you know, for the square inches of the space, when you think about what's there, you've got a historic abolitionist church that was on the Underground Railroad. You've got an Archimedes Russell courthouse. You've got the cathedral. There's so much packed into that space, and we're a half a block away. So it's very much in our mission to do this kind of work, and we're really excited to do it.
And you're asking for entries. What sort of parameters are there for entries for anyone listening and interested?
Sure. So it's a competitive invitational art competition. It has to be invitational because the kind of space it is, right? There's infrastructure, it's a large space. We need to be working with artists who have done large public-facing kinds of projects. Maybe can pull together a team of people because it's not just a sculpture, it will be landscaping, you know, understanding the cultural relevance of the space. So you need people who have had a fair amount of experience in that kind of work.
How do you get in the running for that?
We've put out a call. We had a nominations process, and so we're down to about 40 artists, some local, some national.
Lisa, I know this question is going to come up somewhere along the line. Any kind of guidance as to what to do or not to do with the actual Columbus statue itself?
We really felt it was important not to come out with a predetermined outcome. So we're neutral. And that's very much in line also with what historical associations stand for. You know, we aren't really in the business of saying a historic object should be one place or another. Our role is to make sure that they're accessible to the public, that they're interpreted with contemporary understanding, that they're preserved and cared for. So in our minds, you know, the designs are going to be the designs. It's the public space of the city, and we will be there to help tell the story of these objects and these materials wherever they end up being.
Once you get the entries, who decides who the finalists are going to be, and then how is a winner chosen?
Sure. So there's a jury, which is common in an art competition or a design competition. It's actually referred to as a curatorial committee in this case. And we also, very much like because of the space's requirements as a historic district and a public space, we also need to have expertise. So we have people with landscape architecture background, urban planning background, historic preservation, local people with that kind of knowledge and experience, but also cultural representation from the Onondaga Nation, from the Italian community. We have someone of Latino descent, and people who just really understand public art and public space. And so that's who makes up our committee.
When we get to that point, you present to the city, what kind of obligation does the city have to do anything or go with that design that is the final one picked?
I think because this is going to be a public process in terms of the timeline, you know, we'll have finalists selected in June. Those finalists will then develop public exhibitions. So we'll have 3 finalists. We'll put on a public exhibition in the beginning of November. Plenty of time for community engagement and public feedback. So I think the city will hear this process and hopefully move forward with whatever the winning design is.
Okay.
Lisa, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing. And, you know, you're welcome back as this, you know, proceeds along.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
To see what the artists come up with.
I think it's so exciting. It really is.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.